For over 20 years, the Atlantic Mayors Congress has provided a forum for exchanging ideas and a unified voice for municipal leaders in Atlantic Canada. The Summerside edition has a particular focus on addressing housing and homelessness, with sessions engaging community, provincial, and national perspectives.
I'm Alan Dale from Gale Force Winds. I got to tell you, I'm having a great time here, rounding out the end of day 2 at the Atlantic Mayors Congress, and the level of conversation has been just wonderful. Genuine desire to see each other grow, succeed. In this part of the world, we understand that a rising tide floats all boats. On that note, why don't you introduce yourself? Tell us what you do.
Sure, Alan. I'm Dawn Arnold. I'm the mayor of Moncton, New Brunswick, the fastest growing community in the country.
Wow. Mayor, tell me, what are the kind of big things that you're focusing on right now in Moncton? Moncton, a beautiful city, so much going on there. Gale Force Winds just had the great pleasure of working with an academic institution over there, and you can just feel the buzz in the air in Moncton. Tell me some of the big things you're focusing on.
Sure. Well, obviously, housing. It's the topic for this conference. It's the topic all over Atlantic Canada. We've never seen the growth that we've seen before, but all of that growth comes to a big halt if we can't build housing fast enough. So, like so many other places, we are growing exponentially. We had 6.1% growth last year, so we need places for people to live. Mm-hmm. So trying to be very intentional about that kind of growth, and we had Minister Sean Fraser here today talking about some of the federal initiatives around housing, and we were the first city in the province to get the Housing Accelerator Fund money, and so trying to use that money really wisely. Mm-hmm. On a lot of different approaches, working with our not-for-profits, making sure that they're set up to be successful in building deeply affordable housing, but also from the perspective of the city, how can we get rid of all barriers to success there? So we're working on making our permitting process absolutely as streamlined as it possibly can be, being very intentional about where we build and how we grow our city. So we have an urban growth strategy for the next 25 years to really identify where we want to concentrate the highest density and the highest growth areas of our city.
So many pieces to that puzzle, right? There's so many pieces, but I love how you understand where you fit in, break down those barriers, allow people to get moving in a logical path, in a safe path, in a sustainable path. Fantastic. Mayor, again, I go back to great things happening over there. If you were to reflect on a big success story that's happened in Moncton, most recently, I often tell people, pretend you're going to a potluck, bring me your best dish. What would that look like?
Well, I think, people go, oh, wow, all this growth, does it just happen? And I would say that, some of the growth came about as a result of, honestly, COVID. COVID was kind in some ways to Atlantic Canada. We did well, and I think a lot of people around the world reflected on what kind of lives they wanted to live and how they wanted to live in a more sustainable way and have a healthier lifestyle and that sort of thing. So we've attracted people from around the world, but that growth didn't just happen. So we're now on our second immigration strategy. We were the first community in New Brunswick to even hire an immigration officer. We now have a couple of them. We have one that just focuses on international students. So really making sure that the people that we're attracting to our community can achieve success. And it's about, inclusion, but it's also about a sense of belonging. And how do we create that sense of belonging in our community? So I would say that that's been a big part of our success. And of course, I would have to say that after 10 years of work, in 2019, we opened our Avenir Center, a beautiful state-of-the-art $113 million sports and entertainment center, delivered it on time and on budget. And you're like, oh, why are you still bragging about that 5 years later? But last weekend, we had 7 Cirque du Soleil shows sold out there at that center. We built the center in a way that we worked with the operator and manager from day one when we were building it. And our goal was to, really achieve growth in that area, in our downtown core as a result of it, and it has paid dividends. And initially there were so many naysayers, and so I guess that's a message to other municipal leaders. Like, when you have a vision and you know it's the right thing to do, you got to go for it. And the growth around that has been incredible, like hotels all over the place and apartment buildings, and our downtown is coming alive as a result of it. It was a really big, really encouraged others, like the developers, local developers, to say, hey, there's something really awesome happening in our community, and it built that excitement. So.
Yeah, it's kind of when a domino falls, many more will come behind,
Absolutely.
Right? Are you getting everything you're hoping to get out of the Atlantic Mayors Congress?
It's great. I'm very, very impressed. The level of the speakers. I mean, having access to the Federal Minister of Housing, to the Federal Minister of ACOA, just chatting with them. It's really lovely. Our local, our Provincial Minister of Housing and Social Development, someone I deal with daily, she's here. So, that's terrific. But also to speak with your colleagues yesterday. Really had a really fabulous study tour to the Boys and Girls Club, and they're building housing here. And I thought, Boys and Girls Club building housing, that's kind of interesting. And it's really spurred me to think about how we might be able to work with our Boys and Girls Club to do something similar. So, sometimes these federal initiatives in particular come from on high, and sometimes you need to start at the grassroots and see what your colleagues in Atlantic Canada are also doing, because things are sometimes a little bit different here.
Mayor, we really appreciate your perspective. Fantastic being in conversation with you. Thank you for your leadership.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for the opportunity.
For over 20 years, the Atlantic Mayors Congress has provided a forum for exchanging ideas and a unified voice for municipal leaders in Atlantic Canada. The Summerside edition has a particular focus on addressing housing and homelessness, with sessions engaging community, provincial, and national perspectives.